Hello, everybody, and today we find ourselves in Mayfield, Kentucky, in Maplewood Cemetery, where we might have found possibly the most unique grave you'll ever see. It's often said that death is a very solitary thing. We come into this world alone, and we'll leave it alone. But for one eccentric Kentuckian, he wanted death to be a family affair. The gentleman I refer to, Colonel Henry Wooldridge, wanted to honor those that had meant the most to him, both human and animal alike. And he wanted to see these sculptures, before he passed on. So in the late 1890s, he commissioned 18 sculptures. 2 of himself, 1 riding atop his favorite horse fop, his mother, sisters, brothers, him situated atop Italian marble, his 2 nieces, one incorrectly labeled by historians as a lost love, when in fact historical records show it was a niece. His hunting dogs, a fox, a deer. He would give the sculptors no pictures to go on. They would make these from their best inclination of what they should look like. And when you see that the brothers look oddly similar, perhaps not too much artistic license was taken. The Wooldridge Monuments long celebrated in media this postcard here from the 1920s. The monuments referred to as the procession that never moves, all facing east. And in fact, of all these monuments, there is only one person buried in this plot. That, of course, being the colonel himself, buried in the above-ground tomb. In life, the colonel had been a bachelor, but in death, he would not be alone. A few stipulations existed to be memorialized here. The people had to have already passed away prior to Henry in 1899. I mentioned his mother and siblings are memorialized here, but not his father. That is because his father had left the family early in Henry's life. As I said earlier, the marble statue originated in Italy, but these 18 figures in stone were done by local craftsmen. In all, Henry only spent about $6,000 for this procession. And that sum may not sound like a lot of money, considering all the work that went into these monuments. But if adjusted for inflation, remember that was 1890, that same $6,000 would give you buying power of $165,000 today. In 2009, a significant storm caused extensive damage to the Wooldridge Monuments. A tree fell and caused more than $100,000 in damages to the stone monuments. With a state of emergency being declared in Kentucky, they were able to access state funds to make the necessary repairs to ensure that this artistic vision of Colonel Wooldridge would live on for many generations to enjoy and appreciate.
One thing I will say, it's kind of eerie. When I first walked past, you feel a little uneasy. I went to Catholic school in the kindergarten, first, second grade, and when we would go to Mass, I was always terrified of the various statues. Wax figures have always just made me feel uneasy. I'm not frightened of wax figures, but I've never liked them. I've never liked statues, I guess, in a way, caricatures of real human beings. So this one's a little eerie, but more so very cool. And what probably was seen as an extravagance, probably a folly, of his time has really made for an awesome piece of artwork, of remembrance, and I would say brings a lot of people to the town of Mayfield, Kentucky that might not otherwise be here.
It's said that when this particular statue was brought over, Colonel Woolridge riding atop his favorite horse, the town drunk in Paducah, Kentucky, where the statue was being brought from, hopped the train that was carrying the statue and rode atop it on its way to Mayfield. So if you get the chance to come to the cemetery here in Mayfield, Kentucky, finding the Wooldridge Monuments is very easy. Now, if you're looking at Atlas Obscura, don't use the address that they have on there, but if you do, it's not a problem, just go another street up. But once you actually enter the cemetery, as you can see right over here, that's the entrance from the road. The Wooldridge Monuments are right here. Definitely worth a visit. Such an interesting legacy that has far outlived the man.